grounded to short. Etch to Gordon, a high throw goes into the dugouts. Gordon airmailed it. The Rockies have a run, and the game is tied. Reynolds to right. Stanton to the wall. Off the wall and off Stanton. Round third. Here comes Dahl, and he will score. And for the second straight game, the Marlins bullpen, the back end, is imploding. 1-0 pitch. Prado up the middle into center field. That's a hit. Rojas scores. Echevarria scores. And Martin Prado brings the Fish all the way back to take the lead. How about that? 2-2. Breaking ball popped up. Echevarria, ball game. What a wild ride in Colorado tonight. Marlins blow a lead, come back and take the lead, and A.J. Ramos protects it and saves it. Yes, we are a mile high again tonight in Denver. Marlins and Rockies as the Fish and the Rockies play game 2. If it's anything like game 1, you're in for a treat or heart palpitations. I'm not sure which. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Preston Wilson. You lived through this as a Rocky. Last night for the Marlins, so important for their psyche to erase the memory of Wednesday against the Cubs.
Last night was one of those wins that quiets that outside noise, because when you have a few games like you had in Chicago where there is physical errors, mental errors, and just letdowns, the noise starts to come in. People start talking, guys start getting that doubt, but last night, getting that win, being able to come back, quiet some of that down a little bit.
Okay. One of the things that was really nice last night was the starting pitching of David Phelps, getting stretched out into the starting role. He was outstanding, pitching into the 5th inning. Andrew Cashner makes his second start for the Marlins. He's on a nice little run right now, and that includes his only start as a Marlin.
Well, since the start of July, he has not gone less than 6 innings. He's one of those guys that he wants to be on the mound. He's going to get the ball. But more importantly, he's got to be that other starter that stretches out those innings. He and Jose right now, those are the two horses. They got to carry the load, so it's on Cashner tonight.
Last time Cashner was here in Denver, he went on the disabled list. He had tightness in his upper back. Now, the guy that threw the last pitch last night, A.J. Ramos, and the guy that throws the first pitch tonight, they were college teammates at Texas Tech. Chad Bettis, he's on a pretty good run for the Rockies right now.
He's another one of the young guys that's having success in Colorado. Cutter is a big pitch for him. Change up to the lefties. When he needs one, that's what he's going to go to. Not a real high velocity guy, but a guy they like. He knows how to pitch.
All right, ready to go. Buckle in, kids, for the love of altitude. That's right. What are the effects of altitude? Preston used to play in it. Jessica will talk about it when we return to Denver. is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Rocky Mountains up there, Colorado Rockies down here, and Jessica Blaylock is down on the field. Jess?
Hey, Rich. Well, Coors Field is a very unique place to play, especially considering the altitude. It's a great park for hitters, but it can take a little bit of a toll on your body. Here are a couple players on the adjustments that they have to make to have success here in Denver.
You just got to make sure that you do the things before you come to the park or after the game to make sure you set yourself up. Drink a little bit extra water, and make sure you do a little bit more stretching, I think, because with this altitude you can get tight, you can pull muscles and things like that. So I think if you just take care of your body a little bit, then everybody will be all right.
Definitely try to hydrate quite a bit more. Just yesterday before the game, doing blocking drills with Schneider, I noticed myself getting a little more winded than usual. As well as when we run the bases, I get a little more winded. But as far as my routine, I try to keep that the same, just try to hydrate a little more.
The first time I came over to Colorado, one of the trainers that I used to have back in the days told me that whatever I do, my routine, you got to do a little less. The fact that altitude, you don't need as much time to work out. It's just gonna reduce in half. So that's one of the things. So whatever I do, I cut in half every time I come here.
Just be able to breathe and control yourself during the game. Don't try to do too much, because if you're trying to go 100% here, it's going to be a little bit hard for your body. I used to play in this league on the West Coast with the Dodgers, and every time we come here was a little difficult. But everybody's just happy. Position players, because it's a great park to hit. So I think it's just 3 days, and it's not going to be that much of a deal.
Just like Miguel Rojas said, a great park to hit. This ballpark has yielded 144 home runs so far this season. That is third most in Major League Baseball. When we return, it is Game 2 between the Marlins and the Rockies. Rich Waltz and Preston Wilson will have the call for you on your home for Marlins baseball, Fox Sports Florida.
Coors Field here in Denver. And Dee Gordon digging in the box right now. Chad Bettis, 9-6. His last 5 starts, good ones. 3-0 with an ERA in the low 3s. 6'1", 200-pounder out of Lubbock, Texas. And a fastball is up to Gordon, and this game is underway. D was 1 for 4 last night. He's hit in 6 straight. Had a nice road trip. Had that 3-hit game in Chicago, and he bangs one into right center field. That's a hit, and it's in the gap. Blackmon can't get it, and it goes by him, and it's all the way to the wall. And off to the races is Gordon, headed for third. And he'll hold there with a stand-up triple. And what a way to start things for the Marlins tonight.
Wow. I mean, off the bat, Blackmon thinks he's got a chance to cut this off, and it gets by him. And once that happens, It's 3 bases for sure for D. Gordon. That's not a fun feeling when you're the center fielder in Coors Field and that ball gets by you. You know it's at least third base.
A lot of ground out there. And here is Prado now, who had the big at bat in the 9th inning last night. A 2-run single that erased a 1-run Rocky lead and gave Miami the lead. The Marlins would add a run and win it 5-3. He's got the infield back and speed at third. And he takes a slider that misses out. Clint Fagan, the home plate umpire. Andy Fletcher, Mark Rippinger, and Joe West on the bases. 1-1. Fastball is up. Lorenzo Bundy back at third base. A big send last night by Bundy in the 9th, sending JT Realmuto. Gave the Marlins a run, forced the Rockies into a throwing error, and put that whole sequence in motion. Smacked into center. A base hit. Blackman over to get it. Has it. And Martin Prado gives Miami a 1-0 lead. All right, we've introduced Gordon and Prado. UL Sports Medicine gives you the rest of the Marlins lineup.
Well, Yelich third, Giancarlo in the cleanup spot, Marcelo Zuna fifth, JT Realmuto is sixth, Chris Johnson seventh, first base, Adaney, shortstop, batting eighth, and Andrew Kashner batting ninth.
Now Christian Yelich, 1 for 4 with a sac fly last night. And Bettis misses away. Yelich has hit in 4 straight every game of this road trip. And he swings and misses there. Marlins with a win last night, improved to 58 and 51, so 7 over going into play today for Don Mattingly and the Fish, tied with the Cardinals for that second wild card spot. Cardinals are losing 3-0 right now. Yelich into left center. That's a hit. Prado's not stopping, on his way to third, and he's in there. And talking to Don Mattingly about playing at Coors Field, and in particular that play where Realmuto scored, he said you have to remember, much like Marlins Park, the outfield is very deep, so balls like this, automatically you are first to third.
You have to work so hard as an outfielder in Coors Field to try to stop things like that from happening, but it's so spacious. That's really good heads-up base running by Martin Prado.
Stanton now. Giancarlo 1 for 5 last night, RBI double, and a fastball from Bettis at 92 misses in.
Well, you're going to see a lot of that tonight from Bettis. Throw in with that 4-seamer to righties, maybe sink a little bit, and then he'll go away with the cutter.
Up and in again. Outfield's playing Stanton to right center. Infield playing Stanton to pull, but with runners at the corners, LeMahieu is not on the third base side of second. And Stanton rolls it out towards LeMahieu. A shovel there. Descalso's throw is wild, and it's into the camera well. And a lot of that was the shift. Descalso had to come a long way, caught the ball in full flight, and with Yelich bearing down on him, he airmailed it.
That's a long way to go to try to catch the ball on the move. He's way over there. That's probably at least twice as far as a shortstop usually is in regular double play depth. He's got so far, no time to gather himself, and if you're going to play a shift, you got to make sure you can execute the plays, and that one was not possible. That's a long way to go.
Stanton's going to get an RBI on a fielder's choice, and the E6 sends him into scoring position. 2-0 Miami, and here's Ozuna with just 1 out. And a ball in the dirt from Bettis. And so the Marlins wasting no time tonight, going right to work on the Rockies and Chad Bettis.
Bettis has pitched well at home. He's got a 4-2 record. ERA is over 5, but he did wins.
Ozuna last night an 0 for 4. It's a pretty good pitch right at the knees and right on the black of the plate. One and two the count. Slow grounder to short. Descalso across the diamond in time. And then there's 2 outs before Real Muto arrives. And let's take a peek at the Rockies defensively. Anchored by their Gold Glover Nolan Arenado. Southwest brings you the Rockies. David Dahl back in left. Charlie Blackmon in center. Carlos Gonzalez in right. Arenado and Reynolds on the corners. Descalso for the injured Trevor Story. And LeMahieu up the middle. Nick Hundley is behind the plates. 8 straight is the hit streak for JT Real Muto. 313 average as he climbs in. Stanton's at second.
Well, that's that cutter right there. It looks almost like a slider, but he throws it so hard it's just off his fastball. Fastball's 92. You'll see that cutter 86 to 88. And with men in scoring position, righties are going to get a lot of them.
93 on that fastball. Bettis was a second-round pick 2010. Grew up in Lubbock, just like A.J. Ramos. But Bettis went to Monterey High School. Estacado High School is where A.J. went. And they both ended up at Texas Tech. A.J. drafted in 09. Bettis drafted in 10. Auto Nation with the scouting report.
Well, mixed bag. He's got everything. Fastball, sinker, change, slider, curve. Mile high run. Rockies team is 5-0 in his last 5 home starts. And A.J. Ramos' teammate, you just mentioned that, Rich.
A Red Raider.
Yeah.
2 guys that were raised in Lubbock and then ended up playing their college ball there as well. So they count 2-2 to Real Muto. 2 runs across. And another one sitting out there at second with Stanton.
Yeah, Coach Tim Tadlock has done a really good job with that Texas Tech team.
Hundley held it. But Bettis did not get the call. There's a look at Ramos out in the wooded area known as the bullpen here. And you could see that pitch did miss out. It's funny that in a case like that, Clint Fagan's got 2 catchers who are interested to hear his call. Obviously, you've got Hundley holding the pitch, thinking that possibly it could be the end of the inning. And you've got Real Muto with a close eye. He wants another swing at it. Plus, he's going to be behind the plate here in the next half inning. Three-two on the way. Knocked up into the seats.
Oh, no, that fastball looked like it cut a little bit. That's 93, and it looked like it cut towards the plate.
Bettis last year made 20 starts in the big leagues and was pretty good. 8-6, a 4.23 ERA. Had a near no-hitter against the Phillies. Real Muto hit hard. Oh, LeMahieu, the Gold Glover, and he just gets Real Muto. What a play by DJ LeMahieu. But Miami gets 2 and leads it 2-0. The Marlins on top. Andrew Kashner is ready. And the big right-hander, 6'6", 235 out of Conroe, Texas. Makes his 18th start against the Rockies. 2-0, a 4.50 ERA. Blackmon takes out DJ LeMahieu and Carlos Gonzalez. A power-packed Rockies lineup, even without Trevor Story, who's out for the year with that thumb injury. And another pitch misses away. Blackmon 0 for 5 last night, having a really nice year. 363 on base from the leadoff spot. Smokes that one down the first base line, and he's got pop. 12 homers, 22 doubles, a 461 slugging percentage. The Rockies, great offensive team, second in batting average to the Marlins. But the power numbers better than the Marlins. Not a surprise playing in this environment half of their season. And to watch the Marlins, especially watching David Phelps last night, shut him out for 4 1/3 was very impressive. That one is crushed right field deep and gone. Second deck gone. And there's the pop.
See the setup right there. That ball's down. It's almost right where Real Muto wanted it, but he just went down and got it.
So number 13 for Blackmon, and the Rockies have one of those runs right back. And here is LeMahieu. And Kashner misses down low. LeMahieu had a big night last night. 4 for 4. They were all singles, and he walked, upping his average to 328. A ball and a strike. Plus tonight is his bobblehead night. Well, it's sort of his bobblehead. It's a Ghostbusters DJ LeMahieu bobblehead.
Ghostbusters. Okay.
Jess will have more on that later. LeMahieu third right now in the National League in hitting. Daniel Murphy still at 356. Wilson Ramos at 332. We have 5 of the top 10 hitters in the National League in this ball game. 3 Marlins, 2 Rockies in terms of average. Up the middle, Echeverria. Nifty play. I don't know if Johnson was on the bag or not. And Johnson signals to the dugout that he thinks he was. Now these plays sometimes are an optical illusion as the foot comes off as the player is lunging after the catch, but it's going to be really close.
Tough play there by Edge. Goes, oh, he's on it. He's on the bag.
And it looks like he's on the bag.
Yeah, that's one of those plays where, just like you said, Rich, it seems like he's off the bag because his momentum is going that way, but he was able to stay on it long enough till the ball hit the glove.
Now the Marlins are one of the best at replay challenges. Pat Shine, the Marlins replay coach.
It's a really nice effort by Chris Johnson right there.
Oh, that's the definitive look, right? Super slow-mo, toe on the bag. Back of glove.
Yeah.
Toe comes off.
Well done. This shouldn't take too long. I've said that before, Rich.
Yeah, you have. That's all right. I think this will be a quick one. Joe West is on the horn. And the Marlins, a successful challenge. A nice play by Echeverria and by Chris Johnson. So Blackmon's homered, LeMahieu's bounced out. And before Gonzalez digs in, here's the rest of the Rockies. Brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
Well, you got the ever-dangerous Carlos Gonzalez third, Nolan Arenado's fourth, David Dahl fifth, Mark Reynolds sixth, Daniel Descalso is seventh, Nick Hundley eighth, and Chad Bettis is batting ninth.
Carlos Gonzalez, long ball threats up and down this lineup. By the way, the Marlins this year, almost 64% in terms of challenges. And those are the ones that the Marlins themselves challenge. It doesn't include the other team challenging a play that goes against or for the Marlins. The major league average is 53%, and the Marlins are right around 65%. And that's third best in baseball. That's a big advantage. I mean, that's, you're talking about plays that oftentimes are crucial to outcomes of game.
And sometimes you don't get enough time to see all the angles. Pat Shine is under the gun down there sometimes on some of those plays where you don't get the clean look, and he's got to make a quick decision about whether he thinks it's worth it or not to use that challenge.
That's off of Echeverria's glove and into center. Marlins with the shift against Gonzalez kept Echeverria at the shortstop spot. And it's a one-out single. Miami's defense tonight. That was a big play last night, wasn't it? Like Chris Johnson. Southwest Airlines brings it to you. It's Yelich, it's Ozuna and Stanton. Prado and Johnson on the corners. Up the middle, Echeverria and Gordon. JT Realmuto is behind the plates. Nolan Arenado. We saw Cashner's numbers in this ballpark this year. And of course, Cashner's been in the National League with the Cubs, with the Padres, some as a reliever, some as a starter. Arenado has 20 at-bats and 7 hits and has driven in 2. There really isn't a hitter except Nick Hundley where you would do a double take at the numbers. Hundley's 4 for 7, so that's something to watch. Not a big sample size.
Arenado's just a constant producer. Drives and runs every year. Getting better at the plate. Average is going up. It's a lot of fun to watch play third base as well. One and two to a guy who played on some travel teams with Christian Yelich. And they're growing up in Southern California. It's a pretty good team. Yeah. Count 2-2. Arenado just 25. Newport Beach, his home. Of course, the big year last year, 42 homers. Tied him with Bryce Harper for the National League lead. To short, Etch, Gordon's turn on the money. And the Marlins get a double play and end the first. Rockies get a run back. Charlie Blackmon to lead off homer. It's 2-1.
At Coors Field, where it is also DJ LeMahieu bobblehead night. Now, you heard the guys mention this. I was able to get my hands on one. You can see that Ghostbusters theme to the bobblehead. He's got the proton pack. He's got the uniform. I think it's pretty impressive, but one guy that wasn't impressed with the DJ LeMahieu bobblehead, however, that would be Charlie Blackmon. He saw it earlier and he said, that doesn't even look like DJ, that looks like Bill Murray. But it's got his number, it's got his name, so I guess it must be him. Guys, I don't think it's that bad.
That, I'm not sure. Johnson lining it down the right field line. He's got himself a double. Chris Johnson leading off the second. I think the reason Blackmon doesn't like it is it doesn't have a mullet. Right? I mean, DJ is a clean-cut guy, and Blackmon is not.
I mean, with Blackmon, I don't look at that beard.
When did the mullet come back, though? I mean, I know Barry Melrose has been rocking it pretty steady, but we've seen a few of them around baseball.
I wonder if he's got like an audition for like the next Hobbit movie or Game of Thrones.
Echeverria, right center. Now Blackmon is over in the gap, makes the catch. Johnson forces a throw, and it's way offline. Echeverria flies out, and that brings up Cashner with Johnson still at second base. So the Marlins, and Preston, we talked about it on Wednesday, something they started to do Wednesday, and that is get extra base hits, do some damage. They had a couple of home runs and a double against the Cubs. And last night, Giancarlo Stanton, JT Realmuto, both with doubles. A triple by Gordon, a double by Johnson. Here's Cashner. Cashner at 3 for 20.
I like what Johnson did, making Blackmon throw the ball, drawing that throw. Never know, that could turn into something. That ball gets away.
And that was the message from Mattingly in the aftermath of the Realmuto being waved home is, in this ballpark, you really have to approach every base like you're taking the next one.
Yes.
Pitch is in. It's 2-1 now. If you think that was a wild ride for you, the fans, us, the broadcasters, can you imagine Mattingly and his staff? Especially coming off of the Wednesday game in Chicago and watching the ball club take that lead. By the way, Barry Bonds watching intently. We will have him live from the dugout in the bottom of the third. Ball's in the dirt. Cashner's worked a full count here.
Yeah, he broke out the super peepers tonight. Giving him a good look, Rich. Like that.
Well, Barry Bonds will be here. Bottom third. We'll talk hitting. We'll talk hitting at Coors Field. He walked him. How about that? Bettis walks Cashner. Gordon arrives, and so do the Giants. On Monday, 7:10 start. All you can eat seats, just $25. All military personnel, first responders, veterans, valid ID can receive complimentary tickets. All right, I can go on and on about promotions and all that. It's Jose Fernandez night against Johnny Cueto. How about that?
That should be a lot of fun to watch.
A strike to Gordon opened the game with a triple to right center field. Fernandez and Cueto on Monday. Cueto's 13-3, Jose's 12-6. Tom Kohler, Matt Moore, the newly acquired Matt Moore. And then David Phelps and Jeff Smarja on Wednesday, the day game. And remember, the afternoon game on Wednesday is a 12:10 start, and it's on television. It's not on the schedule. It's being televised. But believe us when we say that we will be there. The crack staff will be there. And if you turn your television on at 11:30, Marlins Live will be there on Wednesday, August 10th. Gordon with a 1-1 pitch. And a strike. It's 1-2. Johnson's runner at second. You don't have speed at first. That's Cashner. D, a comebacker. Descalso's turn, not in time. And with Gordon's speed, he keeps the inning alive. At the corners, 2 outs. Here comes Prado, and here comes help against lefties. The Marlins acquired from the Braves today Hunter Cervenka. At 6'1", 245 pounds, the lefty who has had a nice year with the Braves, a 1-0 with a 3.18 ERA. Braves get a couple of prospects, and the Marlins get help for their bullpen. Here's Prado now. Might we see D. Gordon in motion?
Possibly.
Does keep that right side open for Prado, who's good at knocking it over there. Bettis knows that, and so he busts him in.
Prado's so good at just staying up the middle. It's like watching him take that same swing over and over again, and nobody beats him.
Ball and a strike. Well, last night it was an enormous spot. The Rockies actually walked D. Gordon to load the bases to set up a double play ball, which would have ended the game. And of course, Prado has knocked into the most double plays in the National League, but he drilled one up the middle for a 2-run single. And tonight, same swing, same result, a line drive to center for the first run of the game. It's close to 370 with runners in scoring position this year. Gordon runs, Prado swings, deep center field, Blackmon back, and he makes the catch. Hit it well. Miami leaves a couple in a 2-1 game. Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. By Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. and by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. That the view from, I believe, Robert Redford's Vail compounds. Actually, he's a Utah guy, right? Sundance is Utah, so sorry. Some swanky Vail ski lodge. How's that?
Well put, Rich.
Right. David Dahl, first pitch swinging, drives it right center field. That's trouble. If Ozuna can get it cleanly, Dahl's thinking 3, and Ozuna falls down, and Dahl is going to get to third. And you cannot afford a mistake in the gaps here. I don't know if he stays upright, if he keeps them from 3, but once he went down, that was an easy triple.
And that's the problem that you run into in this ballpark is as an outfielder, you can play deeper and that ball is kept to a double, or you play more shallow and try to stop some of the blue pits, but you can't have it both ways. Way too much room to cover out there. Wow, his feet just came out from under him.
David Dahl has hit in all 12 games he's played this year. And the amazing thing is those are his first 12 games in the major leagues. So 12 straight to start his career. And here is Mark Reynolds, who had a nice night last night, 3 hits, and has found a home here in Denver. He's having a pretty good year. 279, 351, 449 is his slash line. A dozen homers and 22 doubles.
Always had great power.
Busted bat, and it rolls foul. Great power, and the Costco of strikeout guys. He got those strikeouts in bulk. I mean, big time bulk. Reynolds 223 strikeouts 1 year, which I believe is still the all-time record.
Yeah. I came close to breaking it 1 year.
Really?
Yeah, I was like 2 away from almost breaking the all-time. Had 187, and I played the last day. I told her, I said, if I get it, I earn it. I played it. I played every game that season. The only game I didn't play
you and Ted Williams.
You know, me and Teddy Ballgame got something.
That's right. Hey,
when you're in that kind of elite company, Rich.
Put me in, Skip. I'm playing today.
I don't know what the rest of y'all doing, but I got center field.
Reynolds checks his. No, he went around. Wow. Clint Fagan, the home plate umpire, with the call. Reynolds is pleading with him to ask the first base umpire.
And I have a problem with this because if you're a pitcher on the mound, you get to ask for a second opinion. But if you're the batter, you don't get to say, hey, check with the first. The home plate umpire never does that on a swing.
I don't think he went. From the side view, you could see that it did not look like Reynolds went. But that's it's a bang-bang call. For me, I'm with you. I don't understand why some home plate umpires won't even ask if they make the call. I mean, if they don't make the call, if they say no swing, there can be an appeal. But once they say swing, there can't be an appeal.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Bouncer up the middle. It should score a run, and it does. Descalso on a nice pick by Johnson is out. Dahl will score. And the Rockies chase home that second run. In fine Colorado fashion, a homer and a triple and a single so far for the Rockies. And an RBI for Daniel Descalso. Here's Nick Hundley. On a hop, D. Gordon has it, fires to first, but the Rockies, in the course of 2 innings, have drawn even. It's 2-2. Toyota inside look. David Dahl, in his first 12 Major League games, has a base hit. Now, the longest streak to start a career since 1913, since we could find, was Chuck Aleno with the Reds in 41. The Rockies record, one away from the Major League record, one of our favorites, Juan Pierre. And the last to hit in his first dozen games in the big leagues, Glenn Williams of the Twins. Dahl with a triple in the second inning. And he scores on the Descalso grounder. Charlie Blackmon homered in the first. And that matches the Marlins 2 runs they got right out of the gates. Christian Yelich takes a strike. Yelich dumped a single into left center. D. Gordon tripled. Prado knocked him in. Yelich a base hit. And Stanton with a ground ball fielder's choice. That scored Prado. Long way to go. It is Denver. Took a little off his fastball.
A good pitch right there. Good location, got a little sink on it. Now he's in business to either throw that cutter in or he can go with the changeup off that same line from that last pitch.
He bounces that changeup. And he counts 3-2. That woke everybody up in that first row behind the screen.
Watching Bettis pitch to Yelich, he hasn't really come in on him yet.
"3-2" up the middle and cracked into center field. 2 for 2 is Yelich, and a leadoff single opens Miami's third. It's a 3-gamer with the Giants starting on Monday night and on Tuesday night. Steals and Deals Tuesday. Deep discounts in most seating categories for all Tuesday home games this year. And so this Tuesday, just go to Marlins.com and you can get your discounts for the Marlins and the Giants. Giants right now are beating Washington 4-0, top 5. That was a Steven Strasburg start. So 4-0 in the 5th in D.C. You know he's not a Giant anymore, but the Angels today designated Tim Lincecum for assignment, and trying to come back from hip surgery, I believe. The Strasburg lasted just 4 2/3 before getting the hook. 4 runs, all earned, 8 hits, 8 strikeouts. It's a Matt Cain start. Marlins see Cueto against Jose, Matt Moore, the lefty from the Rays, and Jeff Smarja. Stanton takes in. That's where the Rockies have pitched him, especially Bettis. Three and 0.
Go ahead and take a hack, G.
He did, and he drives it into right. And Gonzalez is there and makes the catch. He fires to first, forcing Yelich to get back quickly. Here comes Ozuna. Well, Stanton hit it hard. Ozuna bounced to short back in the first. Both the Mets and the Cardinals are losing right now in the middle of their games. 5th inning for both. The Tigers are beating the Mets 6-1, top 5. And the Braves are on top of the Cardinals 7-2, bottom 5. I told you the Nationals trailing the Giants 4-0, also 5th inning. Here it's 2-2. Fish got 2 in the first. The Rockies 1 apiece in the first and the second. This is a really nice matchup tomorrow. John Gray, bright prospect, young arm for the Rockies, 8-4, a 3.77 ERA, and Adam Conley. Marlins Live 3:30 on the East Coast. Pitches in, and don't go anywhere because in the bottom of the third, Barry Bonds will join us live from Miami's dugout. We'll get a chance to run down the lineup and get a report card on some of his hitters. This is the guy that it feels like Bonds has had the biggest impact on.
Ozuna with the tough year last year, getting sent down to the minors. He didn't want that to happen again.
Chased a breaking ball.
So that's both the slider type breaking ball. The cutter goes a little bit more flat. That one has depth to it. If I'm a right-handed hitter facing Bettis, I'm looking middle of the way because he's throwing that fastball in there, that two-seamer in there, just to get you off the cutter. So I'd let him have it. I'd let him have the inside corner.
A lot of friends and family in town to see JT Realmuto.
I'm more and more impressed by this young man every day.
He was robbed of a hit by LeMahieu in the first. Pulls that one. Arenado, long throw, and caught, held, and out. Reynolds, an acrobatic play at first base. How about that? That's Martin Reynolds helping out Nolan Arenado. Barry Bonds is coming up. Sunlight here in Denver as the Marlins and the Rockies play on a Saturday night. We're joined now by Marlins hitting coach Barry Bonds. Hi, Barry. How are you?
I'm all right, fellas. How you guys doing?
Very good. This is a ball club, a resilient ball club. The win last night, certainly much needed, and the way the Marlins were able to get it for you guys had to be a nice shot in the arm.
No, it's really good, though. You know, our bullpen's been struggling a little bit right now, and, you know, that's when your offense has to pick up the bullpen a little bit. The bullpen has saved us quite a bit this year, and that was one of those situations where we had to pick up our bullpen.
Right, the last few days, the team has gotten a lot more extra base hits. When you find your offense really more of a singles type offense with the, you know, without Stanton, Ozuna, mostly everybody's singles, how do you translate the at-bats as far as like telling guys how to focus, driving in runs?
Well, Preston, what I think what they've been able to do, you know, pretty much all year is get that big hit in the situation where they need it, and they don't ever stop fighting back, and that's what I appreciate about this team. You know, obviously we know we're a young team, we're gaining experience, and every day you get better and better. But right now it's like during the course of the year, these guys have been able to battle back, and that's what's been impressive for me.
You know, we've had you on before, and there's some hitters we focused on. Stanton, obviously, with his success, his struggles, and now his success. The all-star start for Marcell Ozuna, just a huge breakthrough. Yelich's consistency, but two guys in particular, Martin Prado and JT Realmuto. Let's start with Prado. The at-bats that he's giving you this year have just been incredible, including last night in a big situation.
Well, the one thing about Prado, he's an experienced and he's our veteran player, and he's obviously taken that leadership role. And he's a very good hitter, and he's able to put the ball in play. And you know what I've emphasized on him a lot is that, you know what, he was talking to me about, you know, I haven't hit a lot of home runs. I said, yeah, Prado, but you got a chance to win the batting title. You've been that consistent for us. And right now, the number 2 spot, I wouldn't have another hitter on our team to hit number 2 because you've been the guy that, when we needed that run or driving that run or get that key situation, the guy over or something, you've always been the one to do it. So let's work on just winning the batting title.
Well, you keep swinging like that, he's got a shot. Now, Realmuto, you and I spoke a couple weeks ago about JT. You saw a guy that was a converted infielder, a young catcher in San Francisco in Buster Posey. Now, I'm not comparing the two, but some perspective from what you see with JT this year.
Well, JT reminds me of Jason Kendall in Pittsburgh. He's that type of ball player to me. He's got speed, he can run, he can steal bases, he's got a great arm, and he's a good hitter. And at this age and being so young in the game, he's got a very, very good concept of what he wants to do up there, and he's got great plate perception and coverage as a hitter. So he's going to be one of those players that's going to be an all-star catcher. He's going to be one of those dominating catcher, but to me, he kind of reminds me of Jason Kendall because he can lead off, he can steal bases, he can do a lot of things, and that's very rare as a catcher.
Hey, Barry, Adeny's been swinging the bat a lot better lately. What's been the change for him?
I didn't hear you who?
Adeny Echeverria.
Oh yeah, Hetchy, you know, with him, I just told Hetchy, fly balls are no good for you. You're not a home run hitter. You got to hit line drives, hit the ball in the ground, because if you hit the ball in the ground, it takes 2 people to get you out. If you hit it in the air, it only takes 1. And we need you to drive in runs and keep the ball in place. So just work on hitting line drives. And when he does that, he does pretty well.
0-2 the count here on DJ LeMahieu. Barry Bonds is with us from Miami's dugout. And a swing and a miss. Hey, 1, 2, 3 inning. We ought to do this more often.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Barry.
All right, thank you.
Thank
guys.
you very much. We
Thank
appreciate that.
All right.
Nice inning from Andrew Cashner. And a 2-2 ball game headed to the 4th. Barry Bonds. It's a 2-2 game, Marlins and Rockies. As Chris Johnson gets in, one thing we wanted to ask him about his activities away from baseball. And from his Instagram account, a visit to the Olympic training site.
Morning workout, Colorado Springs.
That's
the
right.
Incline. I gotta be.
Yeah, he's out of his mind, he said. That's if you've ever had a chance to tour the Olympic training facilities in Colorado Springs, or even the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, those are both special places. And if you're working out there and you're running up hills there at that altitude, that is a workout. Of course, he's an avid biker as well. Johnson takes down low. He lined a double down the right field line in the second. Danny Echeverria, Andrew Cashner for Miami coming up in the fourth in a 2-2 game. Both Miami runs in the first. Well, the Marlins had base runners in both the second and the third.
Wow, Bettis dialed it up right there at 95, and I looked like that one cut a little bit. I think he cuts it by mistake every now and then, because his cutter is usually 85 to 89, but we've seen a 93, 95, some of those low 90s that actually cut.
Oh, goodness, look out. That bat flying up into the seats, and not the whole bat. Johnson is out and everybody's okay.
This is about as sawed off as you can get right there.
I don't think I've ever seen a bat go that far up into the seats that was broken. So
Wow.
Echeverria react. Look how high up that went. So Johnson retired. Echeverria flied to center in the second. Both starters, it seems, have settled in.
I just haven't seen Bettis throw enough strikes on the third base side of home plate to even look in there. I'd let him have it.
And he misses again. And it's 2-1.
The command for him seems to be much better on the first base side of home plate.
Three balls and a strike. If Echeverria can get on, then obviously it sets up for Cashner. Trying to bunt him over. I liked what Barry Bonds said about Echeverria. Fly balls, he told Echeverria, are no good for you.
That is wise advice.
And that one over the mound. LeMahieu on the run, safe. He beat it. Ground balls good, fly balls not so good.
And the point that he laid out was when Echeverria hits the ball on the ground, it takes two people to get him out. The guy's got to field it and throw it cleanly. If he hits a fly ball, it's just a catch. That's it.
As well, I mean, the mechanics of a swing, that is bang, bang, isn't it? What Barry Bonds and Frank Menechino have tried to drill into Echeverria is that short stroke gets you line drives and ground balls. That long back foot big swing gets you fly ball outs. Cashner looking down at Lorenzo Bundy. The 7-10 to Fort Collins is in the distance on its way by here at Coors Field. Fort Collins happens to be the home of Colorado State University, and it's Colorado State night here at the ballpark. Preston, maybe you're not familiar with their mascot, Cam the Ram.
Cam the Ram.
Cam was here for the first pitch ceremonies. Cashner squares and fouls it at the plate. Those are the special Rocky caps, Colorado State colors. Marlins have a University of Miami night with a very similar type cap. A good bunt by Cashner. How about that? Reynolds flips it on over to first. And so a sacrifice by Cashner, and Gordon with a chance to give Miami a lead. Adam Conley on the hill tomorrow. Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson will preview the game, and it starts at 3:30. We call it Marlins Live. Our friends at South Florida Honda dealers present it to you. John Gray for the Rockies. Gordon's tripled and bounced into a fielder's choice. Outfield not very deep for Gordon. "22 games here and a really nice average." Oh, 0-2. So Diaz hit in 7 straight. And I think too, and we've talked about it this week, there still is some rust in his game. We saw the caught stealing and the pickoff in Chicago, the throw last night. Those are little things, speed of game things.
I mean, he's going through spring training right now.
And it's not like he didn't stay in shape. But the rules are you can only play games 10 days before you're eligible to come off the suspended list. And you can take all the simulated at-bats and all the ground balls and sprints and all that, but the speed of a major league game is different than even the AAA game. Check swing, foul tip. It did get the bat, and Hundley held it. It's a strikeout, and it ends the Marlins in the 4th. baseball. Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica, by Subaru of Pembroke Pines, and by Lexus of Pembroke Pines. Price, service, selection. You're going to love us. In Colorado, 2-2, bottom 4. Marlins come from behind. Well, actually, they came from ahead and then from behind last night to win the ball game. In a 2-2 game here, Andrew Cashner gets Carlos Gonzalez, Nolan Arenado, and David Dahl in the 4th. Gonzalez takes the strike. Marlins with their shift, and Gonzalez got one through that shift. He sent Echeverria to his left behind the bag at second, and he couldn't run down a hot grounder. Center field, Ozuna in, and he makes the catch. So the first out of the 4th, and Arenado comes up. Homestand for the Marlins coming up. You got the Giants and the White Sox. Somewhat of an ambitious August. Started with the Cubs, best record in baseball. The Rockies, best record in baseball since the All-Star break. You've got the Giants, the National League West leaders. Marlins still have yet to go to Pittsburgh this month. Kansas City comes in, and the Marlins finish the month in New York against the Mets. September opens with a 3-gamer to Cleveland to see the Indians. That is a good team, and that'll be a fun series. That ball is hammered but hooked and foul. Once the Marlins bid adieu to the Indians in that first week of September, it's all National League and almost all NL East. The Dodgers are in for 3 on the 9th through the 11th. Cashner strikes out Arenado.
Oh, that was a good job working the in-out game. Got him pulling the fastball in and then throw the slider. Nothing in the strike zone to Arenado, that whole bat.
Here's Dahl now, who just keeps impressing with every game. He's played 12 of them, and he has hits in all 12. First round pick of the Rockies. A guy who, from the side look, looks an awful lot like Christian Yelich when he swings the bat. That one fouled back and out of play. And the Rockies still have won 11 of 15. A game under 54 and 55, but in that conversation, in that wild card conversation. Giants lead the division. Dodgers 2 back. Rockies are 8 back. Here's the wild card standings. Well, we'll get it in a sec. When they arrive, you'll see the Dodgers, who have won already today. Swing and a miss. Cashner, terrific. A 1-2-3-4. And both starters have settled in.
Been waiting to pitch. There's a drive, right center field, base hitter, there it is! Oh, doctor! You can hang a star on that, baby! A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
Pair of Hall of Famers in that clip. Geico presenting this date in Major League history. Tony Gwynn getting number 3,000. And of course, Jerry Coleman, the Hall of Fame broadcaster, in his famous phrase, hang a star on that one.
It was an honor to play on the same field as Tony Gwynn. It was amazing watching him have at bats. Just almost like he knew what was coming. He reacted so well. The ball away, he just hit it the other way. You throw him in, you pull it. Finally, we just got to the point where we're like, just throw him right down the middle. Maybe he'll have to try to figure out whether he's going to hit it the other way or pull it. That's the only way we had any success against him.
He was obviously one of the greatest players in the game's history and a terrific, terrific ambassador of the game. Would give time to anybody that wanted to talk baseball. There was nothing pretentious about Tony Gwynn. Martin Prado bounces out. Now Andrew Cashner and Chad Bettis have been trading scoreless innings since the second. Yelich 2 for 2 against Bettis. A single to left center and a ground ball up the middle. Rockies have shifted Descalso almost behind the bag at second. Yelich takes away. It's a ball and a strike. Good time for the Tigers to get hot for the Fish as they're playing the Mets. Breaking ball misses away and beating the Mets 6-3 in the top of the 6th inning. The Marlins actually have 2 games distance between themselves and New York.
Well, having JD Martinez come back has been huge for Detroit. He makes such a difference in that lineup. Miggy swinging the bat better now.
Marlins are 7 behind the Nationals, who trail the Giants 4-0. Down the first base line, it's going to roll foul. Marlins and Giants on Monday night. That's a Jose Fernandez, Johnny Cueto matchup. Marlins have an afternoon game, a 2 o'clock start here, and 4 o'clock on the East Coast. That ends the road trip and this 3-game series.
I like when Cueto in his delivery does a little shoulder shimmy, looks at second base, and then goes home.
Now you may like it as a broadcaster. I don't know how you would have liked it as a hitter when he quick pitches you.
Oh, I can definitely say I like it much better now.
After a shimmy and a hesitation, he'll get you that quick to the plate if you're not ready.
I had enough problems. I need him out there doing that. It's hard enough as it is. Quick pitch and a shimmy. Monday
night, 7:05 start, Marlins Park. Yelich sprays a ground ball to his former travel ball teammate, Arenado at third. You know, the funny thing is, if we were calling this game even 20, 25 years ago and said ground ball to his former travel ball teammate, everybody would say, what's that?
Yeah, everybody knows about travel ball now.
Stanton drills it deep left field like a rocket. Up into the seats it goes. That's 20 rows up in the deepest part of the park, and Stanton has untied this game. Wow. He hits them here. When he hits them here, man, they just go and go and go.
It was amazing watching the whole defense for the Rockies just freeze. Nobody moved. Oh, it does not get more middle than that.
Giancarlo Stanton hit a 494-foot home run in 2012, and it's the second longest homer hit here. It's his 16th home run against the Rockies, 9th here at Coors Field. So 9 homers in 18 games here. Now StatCast has the distance. Get this, at 504 feet.
Wow.
116 miles an hour off the bat, 504 feet.
That's big. StatCast doesn't like to put that 500 up there. I've seen some balls that I thought were approaching 500 and you never see it.
That's what 504 feet looks like. And according to the baseball researchers that we have in our employ, that's the longest home run in his career at 504 feet. And that eclipses Matt Holliday's homer, which was the longest hit here. So now Stanton has the first and the third longest hit here at Coors Field. And of course, he's only played 18 games. Well, this is his 19th game technically, so, but still, that's not a lot of games.
I'm just over here in awe at how hard he hit that ball, the angle that it left, and how far and how fast it went.
Ozuna walks, Real Muto's up. Is that the young man that got the baseball? It looks like it. Now pull back if we can, and let's find out where he's sitting.
He got him a little strawberry on his knee there from his experience.
That's all right, baby.
Oh, it's all in the game.
That's a gamer that has that. And see, that's that little cutout we talked about yesterday, which is the deepest part of the park.
Yes.
And it's not marked with good reason. Real Muto towards the line. Cargo reaches and makes the catch. Giancarlo Stanton, 504 feet, 116 off the bat. Added up, it's 3-2 Miami. Chrysler is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. And if those bleachers hadn't been there, somewhere up there is where that ball would have landed. Stanton, 504 feet. Let's check in with Jessica Blaylock. Jess?
Hey Rich, I'm hanging out with one of JT Realmuto's former high school football coaches. This is Tex Rollins. His wife Annabeth is here as well. Now you guys live in Oklahoma. JT Realmuto lives in Oklahoma during the off season, but you made the trip to come and see him here in Colorado. How did that come about?
Well, I had been promising him that I was going to come and see him. I stopped coaching football this year, coaching track and cross country now, and I'm off. School hadn't started yet, so I decided I'd come up and watch him play.
Now you've known JT for years. What impresses you most about JT?
JT's leadership ability. When he was a quarterback in high school, state championship game, I remember this quite well. Semifinals, he ran the football for 42 times. His leadership ability, and he was a point guard in basketball, and he was a pitcher in baseball. You can't find a better guy for people to line up behind to be a leader than JT Realmuto.
And now he's playing a position in Major League Baseball that requires leadership, playing catcher for the Marlins. How much do you think what he learned in high school, learned playing football and baseball in high school, and basketball as well, he was a three-sport athlete, translates to helping him now be a leader for the Marlins?
You can't beat being a leader. He started at a young age being a leader. Guys would line up behind him and play, and it just carried over from high school to here.
And I mentioned him being a three-sport athlete. He excelled at football, baseball, and basketball. Are you at all surprised that he ended up playing baseball professionally?
Not at all, because if he hadn't played baseball professionally, he would have played football in college and probably gone on to the NFL. And on top of that, he can hit a golf ball a mile, and like a whole lot of other people, he hits it straight.
And you were telling me he's one of the best around, not just a great athlete, but the way that he carries himself in life in general. You're not going to find one much better than JT Realmuto, right?
You're not going to find one anywhere any better than JT. He is probably wise beyond his age, and he's not going to ever be a problem for you. He's not going to embarrass you. He's not going to embarrass himself, his parents, or the Marlins. He's just a great guy, great all-around guy.
Appreciate the time, Tex. Okay. Enjoy the game. Guys?
Thank you very much.
I had a chance to visit with Coach Tex before the game, and some of the football stories that he had to tell about Realmuto and that championship season. And that's part of the lore of Realmuto is that he did not catch regularly in high school. He was back there in emergency one day, and a Marlin scout saw him and asked him, hey, if we drafted you as a catcher, would you sign? And I guess the conversation went, if the money was right, sure. And it was.
I know we talked about travel ball earlier, but JT's journey basically lays out reasons why kids should play more than one sport. He's got the leadership qualities from being a quarterback, point guard, and now he's catching, handling a major league staff, and some of that's got to come from those experiences.
Well, I think part of that is that Major League Baseball has to do a better job of cultivating the game, so when there is a three-sport star, their top choice is baseball. And the Marlins have two great examples of that in their starting lineup. Obviously, Realmuto, you just heard from his coach, and Giancarlo out in right field. He was a three-sport star as well. Pitch misses out. That's 3-1. And you hear from scouts all the time say, look, we like multi-sport players. If it comes down between a guy that specializes in baseball and some guy that's played football, basketball, or another sport, that's the guy we want to take. Gordon backhands, Echeverria turns. Tell you what a half inning for Adeiny Echeverria. A highlight film catch to open in left and a smooth as silk turn to finish off the Rockies. you greater coverage of baseball. News and notes from around the big leagues. Stephen Wright and that knuckleball. Keep on keeping on. Dallas Keuchel and the Astros have turned it around. And he beat the Rangers. That's the team that the Astros are dueling with atop the West. And Mark Teixeira, he had an emotional speech, announced that he will retire following the 2016 season. Well, I mean, there's a couple plays, if you're watching this game, the Stanton home run is eye-popping for the distance, 504 feet. But the Echeverria catch, Preston, didn't have really a chance to comment on that during the interview with Real Muto's high school football coach. But both of those are plays you obviously just don't see, not only every day, but every season with Stanton's homer. That 504 right now, and we're working on it, is the longest at Coors Field. It was Mike Piazza at 496. Holiday's was the farthest by a Rocky. 486, I'm told, for the Holiday home run. But I believe Stanton had like a 494 here. That was off of Josh Renicky in 2012. So he's got the first and the third longest. There's that cutter, and Clint Fagan felt it came back enough to catch the plate. Johnson offering his displeasure and argument, and that's why he's upset, and that's why he's arguing. Wednesday, 12:10. Please make a note of it, and a Chevron Crazy 8 Wednesday as well. Fill up your car, Chevron with Techron gasoline. Bring your receipt to the Marlins ticket office. And Danny Echeverria will hit a tapper to third, and you'll get a good price on tickets. There you go. Visit your Chevron dealer today. Go to marlins.com for details. Chad Bettis over 100 pitches. You can see 103. And so this, in all likelihood, his last inning. Miami up 3-2 on the Stanton home run. Cashner takes outside. The pitch count disparity is enormous here. Bettis about to throw 105. Cashner's only thrown 60. And he bounces that one off of Bettis's glove. LeMahieu on to first. That's a 1-2-3 inning, bottom six in Colorado. It's 3-2 Miami. Greatest hits album sooner or later. With Giancarlo Stanton, we figured we'd give you a preview of what, you know, his might look like or sound like. Let's go back to 2012.
All right, well, here's a Dusty for you, Dusties. Old school, back in 2012.
Now that was the 494. Look where that lands. And then tonight, in case you missed it, this is a very different homer. This was just a line shot at 504 feet, according to StatCast. And that's a new Coors Field record.
And that one put him on top of the charts. #1 with a bullet.
Yeah, that's there you go. Very nice.
I had to finish it off.
Yes. Dick Clark, there you go. Preston Wilson. Pitch a penny. Pinch hitter, Christian Adames. Or who was the that great show? Dick Clark and Don Cornelius.
Soul Train.
Yes. That was at Philadelphia. Was that the home of Soul Train? Adames pinch hitting. So Bettis is done. It's his bottom 6 here. Cashner gives up a line drive base hit. Stanton has it on a hop. It seems that you don't win here at Coors Field. You survive here at Coors Field. Because you're going to give up hits. You're going to give up homers. Blackman homered in the first. And Cashner gives up the hit here to Adames.
The big thing about playing at Coors Field is you can't walk guys and you can't make errors. You have to make sure you secure the outs that you get, and you can't allow free traffic on the bases.
Blackman takes a strike. You got LeMahieu and then Carlos Gonzalez. So this is a big hurdle for Cashner in the 6th. And it's fouled at the plate. But as we noted, his pitch count is low. And he's 0-2 on Blackman. And a throw over, and Adames is back in.
Looking up on the scoreboard, see the 0-2 count. Cashner's done a great job tonight getting ahead of batters. First pitch strikes. That's how you have to pitch it. I mean, that works anywhere, though. That's a formula to pitch anywhere.
But obviously, it becomes larger here because of the. You don't want the collateral damage. You're going to give up damage. You're going to give up the homer to Blackman. You're going to give up the triples. You just don't want 2 runners on when you do it. One and 2. Cashner out of Conroe, Texas. There really are some terrific stories online if you have a chance to read about Cashner and his mother Jane, who's battled through breast cancer and leukemia. That one fouled back. Some really inspiring stuff. And as we said, his last start here lasted 1 hitter. That's it. He had tightness in his upper back. He would go on the disabled list. He's been better since coming off the DL. He's been really good in his last 4 starts. An ERA in the low 2s. That's trouble. It's hooked in the corner. Stan will go after it. Adames to third, and they'll wave him home. Stanton's throw cut by Gordon, and the Rockies had tied it. Charlie Blackmon.
Gets something down in his own, hooks it in that corner. It is 350 down there. That's a long way down the line. So if you're a base runner and you get a good jump, you could definitely score from first on that.
So not only is it 3-3, but the Rockies are threatening here to take the lead. And Cashner facing DJ LeMahieu, who was 0 for 2, and Real Muto has to get the gate down and knock that one down. To 2-0. Dangerous hitter, LeMahieu. 4 for 4 last night. Getting on base at nearly a 400 clip. Liner, and by Echeverria into center field. And the Rockies come roaring back and take the lead.
LeMahieu so good, stays on that ball, right back up the box. Etch does everything he can, can't come up with it. Cashner had looked really solid. Had made many mistakes. It's been rough going so far this inning for him.
No one has begun to throw in Miami's bullpen. Some stretching going on. The Rockies have 3 consecutive hits. Adames, Blackmon, and LeMahieu. And there's still some potent bats lined up. Gonzalez, Arenado, and the rookie David Dahl. One and 0. By the way, news today that the Yankees have announced they'll hold a press conference with Alex Rodriguez tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern at Yankee Stadium. No word on the subject of the news conference. Two and 0 to a man who's on a 17-game hit streak. And he took a rip at a changeup. It's 2-1.
Look at those numbers, 321, 23, 75.
Yeah, he's only slugging .565 with a .370 on base.
That's a really good season for a lot of people.
Well, he's had a lot of those really good seasons in his career. Last year, 40 homers, drove in 97. This is his 7th year in Colorado. Smoked and by Johnson, and into that same corner goes Stanton. LeMahieu around third, and he's going to score. And the Rockies' lead is now 2. It's 5-3.
Well, Stanton's had a long way to go.
Look how fast that ball was by Johnson. That's how hard that thing was hit.
No reaction time, and look where Stanton's standing. He's standing over towards the bullpen a little bit, so he's got a long way to go to get in that corner to pick that up. And I'll note again, it's 350. Most stadiums are 330, 335 down the line.
And it feels like, and it looks like Cashner has hit a wall here. Cruising through 5, just 60 pitches. And into the 6th, all of a sudden the Rockies have lit him up for 3 runs on 4 hits. Mike Dunn furiously trying to get ready in Miami's bullpen. Realmuto out, probably not to even talk to Cashner, just to buy some time for Dunn to get loose. And it's Arenado with this Saturday night crowd here in Denver coming to life. This is one of the bigger ballparks capacity-wise in the game. It holds right around 50,000, and that's with the upper reaches there on the top right of your screen. The new restaurants and clubs way up in right field. That took away some seats. So it's a big yard on the field, and it's a big yard in the stands.
Still no outs here this inning. Cashner's got to try to find a way to stem the tide. Just slow it down a little bit. Get it out any way you can right here. Try to stop some of this momentum. Problem is, these are tough guys to stop the momentum against.
Yeah, and this is a team that thrives on momentum here. Three runs up right now in the bottom of the 6th. And the Rockies a 5-3 lead. Looks like Dunn is ready. And he lost him. And that may be it for Cashner. You've got the rookie Dahl coming up.
Well, that pitch right there was the baseball equivalent of a punt. No need to give in to him right there. Give him something to hit with first base open. 3-1 changeup. And here comes the skipper.
Mattingly on his way out, and so is Andrew Cashner. And that turned quickly, didn't it? From 3-2 to 5-3, and nobody out still in the 6th. On just 80 pitches. West Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. And the Rockies have been knocking it all around this big yard.
Well, it is a big yard. There's a lot of space out there. The one thing that gets lost is the amount of ground you have to cover in the outfield. Is 347 down the left field line. And then the gaps are huge too. 390, and it goes even further in that little nook. The 415 to center, 375, 350. And that's the difference in those balls down in the corner that Giancarlo had to go get.
And I think the misnomer is those aren't really true gaps. They put the distance up in right center, left center, not even in the gap. It gets deeper in the gaps here. And so now Dunn arrives. David Dahl has tripled and struck out. Dunn's numbers this year. Scoreless appearances in Chicago and here last night. And he misses in to Dahl. Dahl chasing a little bit of history now with a hit streak of 12 games to open his major league career. 17 is the major league record from what we could find. That was just at the tail end of the dead ball era. Dinosaurs were still roaming the earth. Well, not really.
I was going to say, Rich, are you sure you weren't watching the Flintstones, Rich?
1913 is how far we went back. Counts 3-1. What you don't want to have happen here is a 3-run inning become a 6-run inning. Into right, Stanton on a hop. Runner coming home, Stanton's throw, and in with a head first slide is Gonzalez. And Dahl has an RBI single.
It almost looked like Stanton was going to throw the ball to second or third and then just whipped it home.
I think because Gonzalez hesitated and actually turned around to see where the ball was when he was approaching third.
Oh, that's one of those balls that the base runner has to be sure it drops, but it just looked weird. Like he was thinking about throwing one direction and then changed his mind at the last minute.
And the hits keep coming for the Rockies. Here's Reynolds, who's 0 for 2. And there's strike one. So it's 6-3 now. But having watched what we watched last night, there's a lot of baseball left. Oh, and 2. Been a very pleasant summer evening here in Denver. A little bit of wind starting to kick up in and around Coors Field. Reynolds takes low and in. And the precursor sometimes for rain in these parts is the sudden appearance of wind. Of course, we were blabbing on all last night. It never opened up, so there you go. That's a foul ball. One and 2. Still nobody out. 7th man to come to the plate. Single by Adames. Blackman RBI triple. LeMahieu RBI single. Carlos Gonzalez a base hit, a walk to Arenado. David Dahl greeted Dunn with an RBI single. That's strike 3 called.
Can't put it in a much better spot than that.
That is a perfect pitch. Marlins have a new digital Flex Pass, and it features 20 digital tickets for just $199. $10 a game. You pick the games that you want to attend. Go to Marlins.com now. And a strike to Descalso. The former UC Davis shortstop is 1 for 2 with an RBI. I asked Don Mattingly last night who his player of the game was with all of the heroics. And he had a really interesting choice. He said Brian Ellington. Because he said that in that 8th inning, the Marlins just could not afford to give up any more runs and have any hopes of coming back. And Ellington came in and got 2 outs and didn't give up any more runs. Of course, the Marlins would score 4 times in the 9th to win it 5-3. So that's what you hope for from Mike Dunn, is to just shut this down and let the offense try to come back.
Nice time for Dunn to get him a ground ball right here. Get the team back in the dugout.
Strike 3 called. Descalso's not happy. And in somewhat disbelief, he walks away from the plate. Here's a look. Yeah, that's out.
Yeah. You see JT holding that pitch, giving the umpire a look at it. He's been working on his framing a lot. Brian Schneider's put in some tremendous work with him. And JT's put in the work to get better. Just sticks it right there.
We talked to Schneider and even talking to Real Muto. One of the keys for framing and being able to hold a pitch like that and be a great receiver, and that is keeping your body still. And it's hard for Real Muto, and it was hard for a guy like Buster Posey because those guys were infielders, and they're used to moving their bodies to react to the ball. And so all the instincts that he has, or had, he has to kind of erase those from his memory bank. That and trying to pick balls in the dirt with just the glove hand.
I mean, I give him all the credit in the world. That's one job I never wanted. I never wanted to be a catcher.
I hope you had a chance to listen to Coach Tex. And look, if you're a high school football coach in Oklahoma, I mean, you want to be named Coach Tex, right?
Yeah.
There he is. What a great man. And he couldn't stop talking about Real Muto on the gridiron. I did not know that he was a golfer like that.
Evidently.
And I didn't know he was a point guard either. I'd not heard that. All we heard about was his state championship, and at the 5A level, by the way, in Oklahoma. The fact that he carried the football 42 times in the semifinal game.
Wow.
Of that run to the championship, according to his coach. I'm going to ask him how come he didn't pitch the ball more often. Here's a 2-2. Line into center field. It's a base hit. Around third, coming home. Arenado. The throw is cut, and the Rockies have their 7th run. Nick Hundley delivers.
Well, know, the Marlin outfielders are getting a quick refresher on how hard it is to throw from the outfield in this ballpark. You just hardly ever find yourself in a position to throw out a base runner.
Five-run innings. Yeah, the Rockies are always near the top of this list because of the big innings they get here in this ballpark.
Well, here's a guy who led off this inning with a pinch hit at bat.
From the other side of the plate, Christian Adames. That was against Andrew Cashner. And Cashner's night is over, and what looked like a really nice line going into this inning, 60 pitches, 2 runs, has ballooned into 5 innings, 8 hits, 7 runs. A walk and 5 strikeouts.
Good pitch by Dunner, like a slider.
Back foot breaking ball misses. And so while things for the Marlins have taken the turn to the Rockies side here, the particulars in the East and in the wild card are still losing, but those games have tightened up. Pitches out. 7-5 Braves over the Cardinals. That's now in the 9th inning in St. Louis. 6-5 Tigers over the Mets. That's bottom 8 in Detroit. Nefi Ogando in Miami's bullpen. Adames chases. And it's 3-2. Two outs. Hundley will be on the move at first. There is some lightning dancing around the skies. Clouds beyond left field.
So the summer lightning storms are quite a show. See lightning flashing across the sky. It's quite a show, Rich.
It's a big sky here, that's for sure. It's out. Bags are loaded. And now Blackman and Dunn. Mike Dunn has thrown 27 pitches. Adames is having a real good inning, isn't he? He's singled and scored, now walked. See, that's what Ichiro needs in one of his pinch hitting appearances.
Yeah.
He needs to get a knock, and the Marlins have a big inning, and he gets another at bat in that inning.
I like that. Let's do that tonight. Sounds good to me.
Now the pitcher spot for the Marlins is a long ways away. So if you're waiting up late at night for an Ichiro at bat, probably the 8th or the 9th inning. Blackman climbs in with the bags loaded. 5 runs here in what has been a long bottom of the 6th.
Blackman is one of those leadoff guys that can get you on the board right away.
In the center, 2-run score. And Blackman is a double away from the cycle.
I mean, this is lefty on lefty, and he just stays on this ball, goes down. He's a good low ball hitter. But look at this thing. This ball is down. This ball is out over plate, and he just stays on it. That's just good hitting. Mike Dunn did nothing wrong right there. That's just good hitting.
So 2 more across. Dunn exits after 29 pitches. Ogando arrives, and it's 9-3 Rockies. On top. Nefi Ogando is the 3rd pitcher for the Marlins here this inning. Andrew Cashner started the inning and didn't get an out. And the Rockies have rolled to 7 runs, 5 of them charged to Cashner, the other 2 to Mike Dunn. Dunn goes 2/3 of an inning and gives up 3 hits and those 2 runs. He struck out 2 and he walked 1. Now LeMahieu, and Rockies at the corners. Blackman at first, Adames the runner at 3rd. Ogando misses 1-0. Ogando had 2 innings of work in Chicago against the Cubs, didn't give up a run. Remember, in his first run with the Marlins this year, had a fractured rib and was on the disabled list for a while. He's made only 15 appearances in AAA. Last year in the Phillies organization, and got to the big leagues for 4 games.
It's a little 95 miles an hour chin music right there. Wasn't really that close to him. But 95 up there gets your attention every time.
This is where it's nice to have that extra reliever in the bullpen. But for the Marlins, they have some decisions to make. They're going to add an arm tomorrow. Hunter Cervenka, acquired from the Braves, a lefty who can get lefties out, will join the bullpen tomorrow. And then when Justin Bour comes off the disabled list, the Marlins are hopeful that that is Monday. Yet another decision to make. Cervenka, in his season with the Braves so far, he's scheduled to be here tomorrow. And Miami's hopeful that Justin Bour will get to face Johnny Cueto and the Giants on Monday night. Here's Cargo. He singled earlier this inning, 2 hits tonight, and he pulls it foul.
It's been a rough bottom of the 6th for the Fish. Just once the Rockies got going, it just seemed like they just kept replacing the base runners out there.
Popped him up. Let's see if it's playable. And it's out of play, out of reach for Real Muto. And I said it earlier in the inning. That's why Don Mattingly talked about how valuable the 2 outs that Brian Ellington got last night. Fernando Rodney had lost the lead in the 8th, but Ellington stopped it. And it gave Miami the opportunity to come back and win it. Struck him out. Gonzalez doesn't like it. But Ogando finishes what is a long, long inning. 7 runs for the Rockies, and they leave them loaded. Rockies on top of the Marlins. We check in with Jessica Blaylock. Jess?
Hey, Rich, when Giancarlo Stanton isn't hitting 504 feet home runs, he's getting to work on cool projects like this Nike commercial that aired last night during the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. Wait for it, there's G going back and forth with Serena Williams on the tennis court. I wonder if Serena had seen that 504-foot home run, if she would have wanted to have gone back and forth with Giancarlo. But I talked to him about that. He said that he shot that commercial after the series in San Diego. Unfortunately, he didn't get to meet Serena Williams, but he said despite that, it was an awesome, awesome project to be involved in, and very cool that it aired during the opening ceremonies of the Olympics.
That was very cool. And yes, he did hit a 504-foot home run tonight. Good product placement. Well, look, stranger things have happened in this ballpark. The Rockies are up by 6. It's 9-3. The Marlins are into Colorado's bullpen. And first out of that bullpen is Jake McGee. D. Gordon, Martin Prado, Christian Yelich, top of Miami's order. Gordon tripled and scored in the first. He's 1 for 3 tonight.
Jake McGee celebrating his 30th birthday today. 0-3 on the season. Opponent's batting average .297.
One and 2 to Gordon. This was a tight ball game with Chad Bettis and Andrew Cashner. Both were touched for a couple of runs early. Stanton's homer came in the 5th. That made it 3-2. And then it all fell apart for Cashner in the bottom of the 6th. He had just 60 pitches. That was the odd thing. It wasn't like he had a high pitch count.
Things just unraveled in a hurry.
Gordon, little roller. LeMahieu has to hurry, and he gets him. It was close, but I think DJ LeMahieu had D. Gordon.
Nice play out there. Definitely one of the best defensive second basemen in the league.
And you know what's amazing? He's so big.
Yeah, big guy, moves very fluidly. And he did a good job rounding that ball, not settling for a backhand. He rounded it, got his momentum where he could get a little bit more on that throw. Well done.
Here's Prado. I think we've come to, ever since Cal Ripken and you started getting the Alex Rodriguez and the big athletes at short, we've come to accept that, but really haven't had that many at second as good as LeMahieu. Jeff Kent comes to mind, but LeMahieu is 6'4", 215. I don't remember Kent being that tall.
No, Kent's not that tall.
And he certainly wasn't as good defensively as LeMahieu. Prado takes away. RBI single in the first. He's 1 for 3. Chase Utley, not as big as LeMahieu, but certainly added punch in this era. Prado to second in time. And a couple of ground balls to LeMahieu here in the 7th. Fox Sports Florida, Southwest Airlines are giving you a chance, and that means you, Preston Wilson, for an all-inclusive stay in Nassau on Labor Day. Just tweet hashtag Southwest Summer Days Sweeps, Summer Days Sweeps, and hashtag sponsored too at Fox Sports Florida for your chance to win at Fox Sports FL. So there, you could end up on that Southwest flight and on that beach in Nassau.
Okay.
And all it takes is a few hashtags.
Looks like I got a little. Might have somebody help me type that out.
That's why they make TiVo and DVRs.
Okay.
Because if that just went by and you were scrambling with your thumbs to get that on your phone, just back it up a little bit, freeze it, and you're in. And look, I got to be honest with you. I did not see anywhere where it said Fox employees and their families are ineligible. So knock yourself out. There was small print, but I think that was the VIN number on the plane. Just saying. Counts 1 and 2 to Yelich, who is 2 for 3. Yelich goes down. McGee a scoreless seventh inning stretch in Denver, and it's all Rockies tonight. Moments brought to you by Coors. There you have it. This timeless moment. Look at this score. September of '95. 17-0. Pat Rapp walks 1, struck out 7, and threw a 1-hitter. Sheffield was 5 for 5, double, homer, 4 driven in, and that was at Mile High Stadium. Now, Preston, Mile High Stadium. That was just before you arrived in the big leagues, wasn't it?
Yes.
You never had a chance to play at Mile High Stadium.
No, I did not.
Former home of the Denver Broncos for a long time, and it was the original home of the Rockies before they opened this ballpark up. the right field line. And it's out of play. Now, I read that with a little bit of trepidation because 95, to me, was the first year of Coors Field, right? The rock pile in center field. Rockies move in here. Don Baylor is grooving.
Right.
So I don't think that was at Mile High. I think 95 was here. Hits hard, man. Get the exit speed on that. Prado makes the throw. Johnson keeps his toe on. So while we researched that, Preston, we figured we'd entertain our audience and your family with this flashback. Look at P-Dub. Oh, look at the sideburns.
Look at the old sideburns.
The chops going. Oh, look at the purple. Good in purple. You look good in purple, Preston.
You know, you just got to own it, Rich. That's all. Just got to own it.
176 games as a Rocky.
Oh, I remember that guy when he had good knees.
Yeah, 95 was Coors Field, was the first year of Coors Field. And the Rockies in the first year here went to the postseason. Up the middle into center field. David Dahl is having a day, or a night for that matter.
Yeah, that was back to Blake Street Bomber days. Benny Castilla, Dante Bichette, Ellis Burks, Larry Walker.
Big Cat was here. Andres Galarraga was
yeah.
here tonight.
That's a big cat, too. Well, there's Benny right there. One of my favorite teammates of all time.
Brett Saberhagen was on that team, though he didn't fare well in that division series. And that was against the Atlanta Braves. Braves beat the Rockies in 4. Walt Weiss was the shortstop on that team. Reynolds finally gets a hit tonight. A lot of Rockies had hits, except him, and he remedies that with a solid single to left. And of course, Walt Weiss was on that original Marlin team back in '93. The Rockies manager played 158 games. He was just coming off that nice 6-year run with the Oakland Athletics, where he appeared in 3 World Series, winning in '89. Weiss would also get to the World Series with the Braves. Was an all-star with the Braves. 1998 World Series.
Had one of the ugliest fielding gloves you ever want to see in your life.
Which I found ironic when he took over as manager. He was managing a guy that had the second ugliest glove you've ever seen, and that's Troy Tulowitzki.
Walt Weiss's glove nickname was The Thing. Like I don't even know how it was held together over the years. Like, it was so patched up and relaced. It was like, dude, you're in the big leagues. Good glove.
Oftentimes when it's hopeless that you're going to lose a glove, some guys will last-ditch effort take it to a shoe repair place.
Yeah.
Guys that work with leather can patch it, stitch it, grommet it. Back in 1913, they called it a cobbler. Descalso, it's a fair ball into the corner, and the Rockies are going to run a while. Dahl and Reynolds scores, and Descalso knocks in 2 with a double, and it's 11-3.
Well, this Rockies offense is having quite a night tonight. Descalso gets the ball up in his zone. He was a good player for the Cardinals. Getting a lot of playing time here now. with the injury to Story.
He's in a good spot, and he struggled in this environment last year. He struggled with the Rockies. But his on-base percentage, Descalso's on-base percentage is over .420. So he's getting on base, he's getting hits. And now they're going to ask him to play every day, it seems, at short. (11-3), Rockies on top. If you're looking for a shred of good news, it's that the Mets' comeback came a run short, and the Tigers beat them 6-5. And so the Mets are now just 2 over at 56 and 54. All right, here's a little more than a shred of good news. The Cardinals lost. The Braves beat them 13-5 in St. Louis. Can that be right? Because that was a tight game. All right, you want more good news? Giancarlo Stanton, who hit a 504-foot home run, is coming up. And we expect an Ichiro at bat before this night is done. Beyond that, that's all we got. Hundley swings and misses. There's one out here. Nefi Ogando soaking up some innings late here. Andrew Cashner charged with 7 runs. Mike Dunn had a couple of inherited runs score and then 2 of his own. And now 2 here against Hundley, or excuse me, against Ogando. Who's facing Hundley? That's a foul ball. Joe West. Coolly and calmly calling that. Two and 2. All right, the news gets better, I admit. The Nationals lost to the Giants 7-1 in DC. So the Marlins are taking it on their chin, but so is everybody else that's involved in the East race and that wild card race. Except the Dodgers. The Dodgers did beat Boston.
Well, that is good news. Need a little
pick me up.
Yeah, need a little something to feel good about, because right now.
Here's Ryan Rayburn getting a pinch hit at bat after Hundley strikes out.
Ogando's thrown a few good sliders.
I think by the reaction on Rayburn's face, he didn't agree with the adjective there of good.
It was good for somebody.
Yeah, it was good for Ogando. You're right. Not so much Ryan Rayburn. Big night for the Rockies, no question about that. Did you see the throwback uniforms with the Cubs and the Athletics?
I did.
In Oakland?
Believe it or not, Jake Arrieta pitched in a throwback uniform and did not have a bad game. And he didn't cut up everybody else's uniform. I think that's a win-win for throwbacks.
Yeah, Oakland, I think it was probably early 70s, right? Oakland's World Championship unis. And the Cubs had those V-neck blue pinstripes just over the glove of Gordon into center field. Descalso scores, and Rayburn has a pinch hit single. And now it's 12-3.
Well, they're not missing right now. Ball in the middle of the plate is getting hit hard. And even the ones that aren't in the middle of the plate are getting hit hard. Rich, this thing got pear-shaped in a hurry, didn't it?
Well, look, it's Denver, it's Coors Field, and it's the Rockies. And yeah, it was 3-2 going into the 6th. Andrew Cashner had thrown 60 pitches. And then Charlie Blackmon punches one to left field. It's picked up by Yelich. Blackmon had 2 hits and 3 RBIs in that 6th inning. He still is a double shy of the cycle. 2 singles, a triple, and a homer. And here is LeMahieu, 12-3.
Charlie Blackmon's beard makes my face itch. I don't know if that's possible, but looking at his beard makes my face itch.
Well, look, if we could hit like he could, I think we'd all be sporting it.
I would not. No. I don't know, Rich.
Three and 0. To LeMahieu. And a strike. And the bags are loaded. And right now, Nefi Ogando at 36 pitches is having trouble throwing strikes. Don Mattingly's worst nightmare here is not wanting to burn up another arm. You've got a game tomorrow and then 3 more with San Francisco before the next off day, which is next Thursday.
Ideally, you definitely don't want to bring someone in this inning to replace Ogando, so hopefully he can get back in the strike zone. And all the pitchers will tell you here in Coors Field, pitching here is one thing, but it's also really rough on them when they have to warm up, shut down, warm up, shut down. That's very taxing on pitchers here, so managers have to be very careful of when they get a guy up, make sure that they want to use him.
Carlos Gonzalez, bases filled with Rockies. Ogando wobbling. Here at the bottom of the 7th. One and one. Two singles for Gonzalez. One and two. Afternoon game tomorrow. Adam Conley and John Gray. And then it's Jose on Monday nights against Johnny Cueto and the Giants. Two and two. Conley watching.
So he's like, yeah, boys, go ahead and get all of it out your system tonight.
And the runners will be moving for added excitement for the Rockies. D. Gordon in shallow right, waits for Johnson, gets the out, and the inning is finally over. Three more for the Rockies, and it's 12-3. We told you we'd have some fun, and here is Ichiro, too shy of 3,000. The Ichi meter has been traveling. Jordan Lyles is the pitcher, and some defensive changes when we get an opportunity. But first, the Ichiro at bat. This has been a tough run for Ichiro. 0 for his last 11, and he takes a fastball for a strike, and it's 0-1. In his last 28 games, he just has 4 starts, so almost the majority of his at-bats now coming one at a time. And when you're right at the edge of a record, one at a time is probably the toughest way to go.
I would say so. That's rarely getting at-bats. You know, when you come in and you're going to face somebody that's good.
Up and in. And it's 2-1.
You know, and I say he's going to face somebody that's good because usually this is an exception. But Ichiro's the first guy off the bench in a high-pressure situation. He's a guy that Mattingly wants to give that at bat.
Foul back to the screen. It's a chance he gets a start tomorrow. It's a day game after a night game. Coming at the end of a road trip, finishing in Denver, which is never easy. And a 2-2 here. And Ichiro flips it foul and out of play. As a pinch hitter, I mean, especially when you're right on that mark in a spot like this, I think the thing that has really helped Ichiro this year is that his at-bats have come in the context of tight games. Little bouncer to third. Arenado safe! And he's one away from 3,000. Well, if Arenado can't get him, nobody can. And so one away is Ichiro, and the crowd here in Denver appreciative of that.
That was an unbelievable play by Arenado.
Arenado didn't even use his glove. He barehanded that ball.
That's how good that play was. I know Ichiro just got 2,999. That play that Arenado made, my mouth was just hung open. It looked like magic.
So Ichiro gets the base hit. And here's Ozuna. Here's another look at the play. We were all focused on Ichiro getting down the line.
Are you kidding me?
And so one away is Ichiro. And that certainly will draw a lot of attention on tomorrow's game, whether he starts or not. Pitch is out. At 42.
Ichiro was smelling it.
Ozuna lines one to Descalso. Boy, he hit that one right on the nose. So an Ichiro hit, an Ozuna line drive out. And here's Real Muto. In all likelihood, Real Muto will get the day off tomorrow, because not only do the Marlins have a game tomorrow after the game here, you're playing at altitude and you're flying across the country. And so Don Mattingly, you would think, is going to give some regulars the day off, or possibly Monday night off. You can't give them all a day off at once, but you can certainly mix and match. Giants are already on the East Coast. They beat the Nationals, which is good news for Miami. One and two. Two balls, two strikes. So an Ichiro hit. It almost feels like this hit, there was more pressure on this hit than his next one, as strange as that sounds.
Well, when you got an 0 for working, you know, you have your good at bats, you have your bats where you hit the ball hard and guys just make good plays. Then you have your poor at bats, and next thing you know, you're looking at 10, 11 at bats and start pressing a little bit.
Real Muto Sends that one into the corner, and Ichiro is flying towards third. Up with the ball in right field is Dahl. Ichiro stops. Real Muto has a double. Well, now, here's the other thing. Forget about tomorrow. If the Marlins can get a few more guys on here, Ichiro could get an at-bat, if the inning goes long, this inning or next inning, because he's obviously going to stay in the game in Stanton's spot in right field.
Yeah, that light bulb went off over my head as well, Rich.
As soon as that ball left the bat, that's when the light bulb went off. Johnson takes a strike. Chris Johnson's 1 for 3, doubled back in the second. And he'd like to have that check swing back. It's 0-2. As we noted, both of these teams in this series are playing with a short bench, which in baseball terms is a 4-man bench. Marlins have Ichiro, Jeff Mathis, Miguel Rojas, and on some nights Derek Dietrich. And Johnson strikes out. So Ichiro right now is 6 hitters away from getting to the plate again. Rojas gets an at-bat here for Echeverria. You got Derek Dietrich in the on-deck circle. It's 1-0 to Miguel Rojas. If you're just joining us, where have you been? You've missed a lot, most of it Rocky stuff. Giancarlo Stanton hit a 504-foot homer, the longest ever recorded by StatCast. The Rockies got to Andrew Cashner in the 6th, and Ichiro just picked up a pinch hit. An infield single, and he is 1 away from 3,000.
Three-0 count. These are the tough at bats for players, Rich, when the game seemingly is, getting out of hand, to not give those at bats away.
You know what, though? Look, I'm dialed in now. Every at bat, every base runner means Ichiro is a little closer to getting another at bat in this game. So here's Dietrich. Bags are loaded. Dietrich hitting in the 9 spot. Ichiro pitch hitting in the 4 spot to open this inning with an infield hit, the double by Real Muto with 1 out, 2-out walk to Rojas. And Steve Foster, who's doing a fine job as a pitching coach for the Rockies, the former Marlin bullpen coach. Rockies bullpen. Dietrich fouls it back. So Scott Oberg is getting ready in the bullpen. Lyles with the bags loaded here. And it's a ball and a strike to Dietrich, whom you might see in the starting lineup tomorrow as well.
That's a tough pitch right there. That ball's way out there. That's just not okay. That's not okay. That's not okay. You know, the Rockies have been victim of it. That's not okay.
I bet you that's right on top of the other ball if we throw Fox tracks up.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, a little further out. Little further out, but not much. Pitch 3 that was called a strike is right underneath that. Two and two. And Dietrich pulls it foul.
What really bothers me about the whole strike zone changing sometimes when the score gets a certain way is you still got to do your job. Like, you can't just amend the rules to make a pitch that's a ball or strike just because you want the game to speed up. I've never liked it, whether it goes in my team's favor or not. I've never liked umpires making the strike zone bigger because of the score of the game.
Do you think it was score of the game, or he just missed the pitch?
Possibly just missed the pitch.
But I hear you.
But there are sometimes.
Now, will umpires tell a hitter, look, even before an at bat, you need to be swinging?
Oh, I've heard it plenty of times, especially on a getaway day in New York, and they don't have a late flight trying to get out of there. I've walked up to the plate, hey, swing it today, Willie. And you know what I did, Rich? I swung.
Dietrich got clipped by the pitch, and it's an RBI. He's on his way to first. And you know what? It's another batter closer to another Ichiro at bat. He is one shy of 3,000. And so in a game that was a laugher and a runaway, all of a sudden it's a developing story here. And he'll take the high fives, but he pinch hit for Stanton. So he's going to go in the game defensively. Walt Weiss is out. And Weiss looking into the dugout.
Just seeing if he didn't try to get always going to go get a pitcher. Well, that's it for Lyles.
And so Lyles is out. Oberg's coming in. Miami has a run. Down by 8, though. West Kendall Toyota called to the pen. on top of the Marlins. Now, Derek Dietrich was just hit by a pitch, which gets us closer to a record. Okay, this one included, but not the one everyone's thinking about. All-time Marlins hit by a pitch. Derek Dietrich now 51 hit by a pitch. You see the plate appearances pales in comparison to Alex Gonzalez, and so Dietrich is sitting on 52. But Dietrich's reaching base means if somebody doesn't get picked off here, Ichiro's guaranteed an at-bat in the 9th inning.
This is true.
Because this is the top of the order. Ichiro's in the 4 spot. So just don't get picked off anybody, and we'll have a shot at some major history in the 9th. Unless the Marlins keep this inning going, which would be nice as well for the Fish. They're one huge inning away, obviously. 1-1 to Gordon. He's tripled in 4 at-bats. Scott Oberg. Ball and a strike and 2 outs. And it's 2-1. Three and 1. Prado, Yelich would love a shot here with runners on base. And Gordon walks. And so a hit batter drives in a run. A walk drives in another. It's not pretty, but for the Marlins, they will take the runs. And so Ichiro, barring a huge rainstorm, and it is sprinkling right now, is going to get an at-bat in the top of the 9th inning. If not here, of course. Oh and 1. Prado RBI single. Marlins got 2 in the first. Over the pitcher. LeMahieu gets the outs. Ichiro is 1 away, and he is due to get an at-bat in the 9th. 2,999 is in the books in Colorado. A line drive, and he's in there. Ichiro into center field. Ichiro, base hit. in Colorado when they announced the defensive replacement that Ichiro was staying in the ballgame. This place went, we got a nice jolt of electricity and excitement in it. Here in Denver tonight, Ichiro's in right, Rojas is at short. The Marlins were getting blitzed by the Rockies. Ichiro came up as a pinch hitter to start the 8th and singled, an infield single. Dustin McGowan is on the mound. Well, the Marlins ended up having a nice prolonged inning to the point where Ichiro is due up in the 9th. Derek Dietrich is at third base. And so certainly, I know it's late, but call your friends and your neighbors, because Ichiro in the 9th will be going after career hit 3,000 and try to become the 30th member of that very, very exclusive club in Major League Baseball. Arenado against McGowan, and Arenado pulls it foul. The Rockies have had a big night. There's no way around that. A dozen runs, 16 hits. But strangely, Arenado's been quiet the whole series. He is 0 for 7. .94 miles an hour up. And the damage absorbed by the starter Andrew Cashner, 7 runs. Mike Dunn 2. Efi Ogando 3. And McGowan, who's pitched well this year for the Fish, gets a strikeout of Arenado. And here comes Dahl. Dahl tonight has continued his onslaught. Enjoying his second week in the big leagues. All he's done is hit in all 12 games with a batting average of .388. Triple, 2 singles. Tonight you can see the rain falling here.
Did you see that pitch that he just swung at? When you're going well, you can swing at that pitch and not get out. Things are just going your way. You swing at a ball that almost hits you. It doesn't go fair. Get another swing.
He missed on that breaking ball. McGowan did get knocked around his last time out on the road against the Cubs. And that's a tough, I mean, if you're Real Muto, I'm not sure what else you could have done in that case. A swing and a miss. He tried to get enough of it to keep it in front. It just kind of blew up on him and rolled up the line.
That's a tough pitch to handle.
So a strikeout, but a wild pitch. And here is Reynolds. That's a hit. Yelich. One out. And here's Descalso. Two hits for Descalso. He's driven in 3. Ichiro is due up second in the 9th.
Gowan looks like he throws a very heavy ball. You know, some guys, when the downward action goes on and you try to catch it, it feels like you're catching a bowling ball.
One and one. Rockies are up, and they have been up since that big 6th inning. 7 runs that 6th inning. They chewed up 3 pitchers. And it's 2-1. All but 4 games on the schedule are finals. We got the Rockies and the Marlins here. Obviously, the others are West Coast games. Milwaukee leading Arizona 9-4, 8th inning. Padres 8-4, Phillies. That's 8th inning. Angels over Seattle 6-4, bottom 6. A lot of people that the Marlins are involved with right now lost today and tonight, which is good news. Descalso, oh, diving stop. Rojas, there's the feed to second to get the out. Miguel Rojas may be the 5th infielder for the Marlins, but he is a dynamic defender.
This play doesn't get made very often. Oh.
Here's Nick Hundley now.
Noah McGowan appreciates that.
Oh, 1. And it's a ball and a strike. One pitch. Swing and a miss. MLB.TV Premium. Preston knows it. Just visit MLB.TV. Get you some details on hooking yourself up for the rest of the season. August, September, and into October. Every out-of-market regular season game. Over 400 supported devices. And he got him. So the Rockies are done. But the Marlins are not. 1 hit away from 3,000. Ichiro is due up second in the 9th. here in Denver tonight is due up second in the ninth. One hit from 3,000. Christian Yelich will lead it off, followed by Ichiro. As the Marlins down big, Ichiro came in and led off the eighth, pinch hitting for Giancarlo Stanton, and singled. He was in an 0 for 11 rut. But now he's one hit away. And here is Yelich. Scott Oberg into his second inning of relief. And Yelich takes a fastball for a strike. There are 29 in the 3,000 hit club. Just 29. The last to get there was A-Rod. Of course, Derek Jeter has arrived there. That one to the screen. And Ichiro, in his 16th season, could become only the second of 30 to get there in 16 years. The only other was Pete Rose. And it's down low, and Yelich is on his way to first, and here comes Ichiro.
Right fielder, number 51, Ichiro Suzuki.
Now the crowd here come to their feet as Ichiro digs in. That long road that started when he was 27 after 9 years in Japan. He stepped into Major League Baseball as the best player in Japan, and he quickly took off. He was the MVP his first year. Fastball misses away. 10 consecutive All-Star games, 10 consecutive Gold Gloves, an MVP, couple batting titles. Ichiro dropped by Oberg, throw to first. He is out at first base. Wow, bang bang play at first. And Ichiro is out. And that's how close he came to 3,000.
Oberg did a good job of fielding this position right there. Almost had a chance to get the lead runner, but the ball comes out. Barely gets Ichiro over there.
You know, as Ichiro was trotting into the dugout, the thought occurred. Getting to 3,000 is an enormous achievement. But I think the last way you want to do it is on a review.
Right.
While you're sitting in the dugout. And the Marlins are not going to challenge. And so Ichiro is 1 for 2 tonight. And a lot of folks here start to head for the exit. Super slow-mo. Here's a look. And he is out. But there is that in this game that we have today. I mean, he very well could have picked up 3,000 sitting in the dugout. Thank goodness that didn't happen. Backhanded by LeMahieu, fires to first in time. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the starting lineup tomorrow.
I think it'd be a good day for him to play. give one of the other outfielders a day off.
He's had 2 good at-bats tonight.
Yep.
Hit that ball sharply. Real Muto certainly deserves a day. And he shoots one down the first baseline. That's a fair ball. And Real Muto's got extra bases again. That's his second double. Yelich scores. And the Marlins make it 12-6.
But JT just shot that one down the first base line. That's one of those that it just shocks the first baseman because you don't expect the ball to go down the first base line. It's going to be a clean hit anyway. But good job by not giving away those at bats.
Here's Chris Johnson. And that fastball backs him off the plate. You got Rojas on deck. Real Muto now with 22 doubles on the season. And Johnson. LeMahieu to first. He's safe. On a hop. Johnson getting down the line. The Rockies will look at it.
That's a long way for a second baseman to go to field the ball or throw it and make it a close play.
Well, he's good, this LeMahieu guy.
He's in short left field.
And he's 6'4". Well, he may be out. See, now the game could end here, but can you imagine Ichiro's 3,000th hit being in the balance right now with Joe West? No offense to Joe, but I think the last thing you want to see in that moment is Joe West emerging from a headset.
There's so many things about this play that are unbelievable to me. First of all, as far as he goes to range to make that play, then to get up and make a strong throw accurately with enough on it to even make it a close play.
Yeah, and he's on the third base side of second base, and he's out in left field. And we've watched it in slow motions. Let's watch it in full speed here.
That's an incredible play.
And so in New York, they watch. The late shift is in the umpire control room. Super slow-mo, back of the glove, bang. And I think it's just before the foot gets down. But it has to be clear and convincing, right?
You would think so, Rich. That's what they base it on. We had a couple in Chicago that did really get good looks at.
All right.
And they went different ways.
Here we go. He's out. And the Rockies win the ball game. Well, for the Marlins, they lose tonight. Ichiro gets a hit. He's one shy of 3,000. And the Rockies even this series at a game apiece. And that means tomorrow, a shot at history. Whether he starts or not, Ichiro is going to have a shot at 3,000 tomorrow. He did tonight and hit a sharp ground ball that Oberg knocked down and threw to first just in time to get it. This was the last opportunity. The NHK truck reacting. Japanese television.
they're having as much fun as we are.
Yeah, they are.
And we've been traveling with those guys. They're all good guys and gals, and have been doing a terrific job this year. Marlins Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By the all-new 2017 Chrysler